Welcome to Keystone Connect, a video and podcast series connecting friends to faith, culture, and good vibes. This is episode 8, aka The Ocho.
The Ocho.
Yep.
I love it.
Today we're doing a weird accent game featuring Mason Tucker, our maintenance man himself. And we're going over some of the staff's favorite verses while doing that. We're sharing some good news. I will tell you where the U.S. ranks in the World Happiness Report. And Ryan is rounding up the recommendation roundup.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back for
He's
week
back.
8. Back to co-host a little bit, give you guys some color commentary. You know, I actually did color commentary for a couple of GVSU hockey games. And
Really?
that was really an experience. So
You would
that
excel at
experience prepared me for this day.
What was your best one-liner or two-liners from that? Do you remember?
It was something like that. That was like, you know, there are just facts out there. Ice is cold, like it's like ice is cold, ice is slippery, and that man hits hard. It was something like that. I was actually pretty happy with it. It was
That's
like a good
awesome.
sneak in there. So yeah, I'm excited to be back today.
Yeah, can we cue in some guess who's back? Back
Ooh,
again.
some Eminem.
Ryan's
Our Detroit
back.
boy. I like
Yep.
that. We'll fade that in. We'll fade that in. Cool. So what are we starting out with this fine morning?
So we're going to start off with our Mason Tucker feature. So let's just head over to that where we talk about some of the staff's favorite Bible verses, but we read it in an accent.
All right, I'm ready for it.
Let's do it. I am here with Mason Tucker, aka the Mook is what I call him. And Mason, what would you technically call your title here at Keystone?
I would say that it's maintenance facilities.
Maintenance man. If you need something maintained, you come to this guy.
Yep, if you need a coat hanger hang, it's me.
Hanger hanged, hanger hung, all that good stuff. So Mason and I typically, for whatever reason, talk in some sort of like an Italian mobster accent. So I came up, Mason, with a couple new ones to call you this morning.
Oh,
So
fantastic.
sometimes when he walks into the room, I'm like, hey, what's up, you cupcake creaser? That was one. Then there was another one where I am, hey, look who it is. It's the cobweb crawler.
Oh.
Then two new ones that I came up with are, look at this guy. He's like some sort of rat tail wrangler or something of that sort.
Oh, Copernicus. You need to navigate yourself to the back of the line and stand there with your shirt and
this?
shoes.
Who's this guy? Was he some sort of Junebug juggler or something like that?
Look at this cannoli.
Yep.
Never tasted one in his life.
So with that, he did mention a cannoli at one point. So for his birthday, I drove to this random place in Comstock Park. I Googled who still sells cannolis, and I got him a cannoli for his birthday. How did it taste, Mason?
It was delicious.
It was delicious. I think
Delicious.
Did you give me a taste? I feel like you did.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, you did.
Because I kept it in the fridge overnight because I literally just ate lunch when you gave it to me, so I kept it for the next day. And
Nice.
I pretty much spent all day munching on a giant cannoli
It was a
you
big
gave
cannoli.
It was big.
Yeah.
So it kept me going
Big
for a while.
cannoli. So since we talk in accents so much, I figured we would play a game to experiment with our accent skills in various accents. So what I
I'm
did,
terrible on this
I
podcast.
had, I am too. Actually, my accent game is not good. So what I did was I had staff send me their favorite Bible verses. So we were going to read some of staff's favorite Bible verses in these accents.
I want to hear you do it first because it's.
All right, I can't look at the bowl here. Full one. Australian. Dang it. This is the one I wrote. I was looking at. Galatians 5:13. You, my brothers and sisters, were called to be free, but do not use your freedom to indulge the flesh. Rather serve one another humbly in love. With some shrimp on the barbie.
Yeah, I was about to say you should add something like mate.
Mate, on the land down under.
British. That one's good. Proverbs 10:18. The name of the Lord is a strong fortress. A godly run into him and are safe.
I like it. So what's your add-on to that? What's your stereotype add-on?
Might. Because they all say mate.
Oh man.
Or
I thought
love.
that was Australia, but
The name of the
one and
Lord is
same.
strong and fortress. The godly run into him and are safe, my love.
All right, that's good. Southern. Man, I'm getting the ones that I don't like. We are going to do Paul's favorite, which is by the Apostle Paul, Romans 8:38 through 39. For I am convinced that neither death nor life, neither angels nor demons, neither the present nor the future, nor any powers, neither height nor depth, nor anything else in all creation will be able to separate us from the love of God that is in Christ Jesus our Lord.
Have mercy.
Lord have
Lord
mercy.
have mercy. Oh, guys, this
one's-
is our go-to one. New York, Boston. Hey, Mook, for the grace of you have been saved through faith, and this is not from yourself. It is the gift of God.
Nice.
But that's not. That's what you get.
This next one is Caitlin's, Philippians 4:6-7. And let's just do an Italian one. We were talking about an Italian one. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus.
I feel like you sounded more like Nishan.
Sean is our friend from Africa, so that doesn't, it's kind of near there-ish, but you heard it here. So Mason, how did you get involved at Keystone? What brought you to Keystone and eventually led to you being employed as the maintenance man here?
It's kind of a long story. So when I first started dating my wife, she started bringing me here to Keystone ever so often, and Michelle, her mother, came to me one day and was like, "Hey, I need help with an event, straightening chairs and stuff like that." So it was very simple work, and at the time I wasn't working weekends, and Michelle needed help, so I stepped in and helped out, and one thing led to another, and eventually I did it for like 5 years, and eventually they offered me a full-time position.
Sweet.
So it was
You were
really
helping with events for 5 years? I didn't even know that.
on and off. Yeah, I was the guy in the background cleaning up after weddings, funerals, stuff like that.
So this is a PSA, actually. There was one, I think it was a Friday, where I helped Mason set up the chairs for Keystone, and it is a very precise process, very particular, that's the word. You have lasers that you line up to get a certain...
People think lining up chairs is easy, which it is.
Once you get the hang of it.
Once you get the hang of it. But I still mess up all the time, because I had Randy come in later that day and help me realign them, because I had to shift everything over by a foot.
Yeah,
Wow.
All the chairs?
Yeah, over 500 chairs or so. We had to shift them over about a foot. But yeah, it's surprisingly, you got to line it up with the laser, and then at certain points you got to have a certain gap. It gets really weird, and you didn't think it would be that hard to line up chairs, but it is.
Tell me a little bit about your faith, and in particular, what do you feel like was a season, a moment where you grew in your faith the most?
Well, I've always been a Christian, ever since I could remember, but I remember when I was 13, I was at dirt bike camp, and at the time, I was having some struggle with my faith. I was just young and didn't really understand the concept of God as much as I do now.
Yeah.
I just kind of was like, well, if he's there, why haven't I heard him? And once I got older and realized that a lot of the good things that happened to me were because of him, I started to embrace it more, and to be honest, I stopped worrying as much. I stopped stressing as much.
I didn't know dirt bike camp was a thing.
It is a thing.
Was it a Christian dirt bike camp?
Yes, it was actually.
That's sweet.
Yeah, run by a bunch of pastors. They were working out the kinks at the time, so they weren't as professional as they are now. But yeah, it was good. It also kept kids out of. They did a juvenile program there where they kept kids out of juvie and just made them sit at camp and work on bikes.
Love it.
So
Learn a skill.
met a lot of different people from a lot of different walks of life when I was there.
So this moment of growth for you, where you realized these good things came from God, and you started to ask and engage in these questions, what do you feel like, what point of life was that, and like what triggered that?
Well, it wasn't really a trigger, as more of was a realization. So, so at one point I was fresh out the house, no money, no car, not really a place to stay, and I prayed God for guidance, and He led me one place to another that kind of just worked out, and kept following the path He gave me, and eventually it led to me to a wife and kids and a beautiful home, and I really think that's all that people really ask for is, peace and, safety and happiness. So, kind of just really, it was kind of a gradual realization. It wasn't like instantaneous.
And I think that's how a lot of people's stories are. Doesn't necessarily need to be. A lot of people are like, one moment or one thing, but in different seasons we learn different things and continue to grow, and Lord willing that we can continue to grow in our relationship with God in whatever season we're in, and hopefully we can continue to have these gradual seasons of growth. What's your favorite activity to do in solitude? Like, what gives you the most peace?
You've seen the floor machine, right?
Yeah.
So my favorite thing to do, so no one's around, I'll put Riding Dirty, song Riding Dirty, and I'll roll it at the slowest speed possible, and I'll just bob my head up and down, and I know who's ever looking at the cameras can see me.
That's so
so
good,
I'm hoping
Randy.
that somebody's getting a good laugh out of it.
It's ironic because you're really riding clean if you're
exactly.
cleaning it, so. But you're riding dirty in the sense that you're going really slow, so it's just a huge paradox all within.
Or sometimes
A
I play the
moment of
song
greatness.
Riding Nerdy.
By Chameleonaire. Oh yeah, the Weird Al version.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks for joining us, Mason. So if you see Mason around, say hi to him and try to see if you can walk as fast as him. You probably can't. And thank you for joining us on the podcast.
I appreciate it.
I absolutely love all the different features and different staff people on the podcast. It's really cool to just get an under the hood look at some of the people that work here, because there's things that I don't even know about them that's just cool to watch and hear about. So that was an awesome interview. Mm-hmm. Now I think you've got got some jokes for us today.
Yeah, I've been testing out these jokes. I've come up with all the ones that I will be saying today. And
now
I have
love
a whole
it because
list.
you literally have a notes page in your phone. I imagine you driving and then it pops in your head and you pull over to the side of the road.
Yep.
And just type them out.
Or just type it while I'm driving.
Oh.
Shout out to all the quarantines out there. Do not do that.
The quarantines learning to drive.
Teenagers, the youths.
Oh my gosh. I heard actually, this is a weird news bit, that teens in Georgia, it was something where they automatically pass their driver's test. It was weird. I don't know. this might not be true, but I felt like I saw it through the grapevine of the media, and it was you can take it at home or something like that. And I'm
through the grapevine.
I don't know.
Isn't Stevie Wonder from Georgia too? So it's perfect.
That's a good tie. All right, hit me with these jokes. I'm ready.
Okay.
Because your singing is not a joke. It's just
right. Why did the bowler go to jail?
He was a kingpin.
Nice.
Is that the answer?
No.
Okay, ready?
He got framed.
Oh no.
Ryan? They spared his life though.
Man, I'm glad he didn't strike out.
Yep.
All right, number two.
By the way, my goal is when I'm 50 or 60 to produce a joke book, because I've read some dad jokes book, and I've honestly thought that's really bad. I think I can do better. So I think
you could do it.
This is my ambition for the future. So hopefully this note never gets deleted. So, did you hear about the coffee bean that was killed?
No, I didn't.
He was decapitated.
Ooh, I like that. That was nice.
And he didn't have any energy after.
Dude.
That wasn't part of the joke, but it makes sense. If he was decapitated, you're not going to have any energy.
Yeah.
You're not going to have any caffeine after.
Ooh, I like the follow-up jokes. Those add a nice little PS kick to the vibe.
What do you say when you're running out of water at a party? What do you do in a situation like that?
I say, hey, I'm really thirsty, and then I go get some water.
That'd be a good move. Mm-hmm. But you know what you should do when you go and get some water?
What should I do?
take a picture. It'll last longer.
Oh no. Oh my gosh.
We probably won't include this one, but I'm going to say it just in case.
I want it.
I've said it to the staff before, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
This is pretty good, but doesn't make complete sense. What do you call people who hear Jesus' words and don't live them out?
I have no idea.
Jesus' decibels. Disciples, but they just hear it. So it's just decibels. and they
I
don't
appreciate
hear it.
that literally you have to explain this. I imagine you have a page in your joke book and it's all that, and then there's a paragraph explaining.
Yeah.
That. I'm a fan. I'm a fan.
See, everyone says you have to, it's not a good joke if you have to explain it, but my jokes are so intelligent, that's why I have to explain it, because
People
it
just
helps
are
guide
not up
people.
to the same level of speed.
Right, exactly. I got to catch them up somehow, so that's how I do.
Well, I appreciate that. That certainly put a smile on my face, which makes
Good.
me think about good vibes.
Good vibes. And like we always say, laughter is the best medicine.
Aside from actual medicine.
and
And
potentially
miraculous healing.
miraculous healing, as well as a healthy diet.
Dude, yeah, actually, a healthy diet and exercise is also the best medicine.
Yeah.
But aside from all of those things, laughter.
And apple. An apple a day.
An apple a day keeps diabetes away.
Diabetes.
I don't know if that's true. All right, so hit me with some good news. I'm ready for some good news.
Okay, so a couple bits of good news. Are you a fan of Parks and Rec at all?
I am. Big fan.
So
Big fan.
they raised $3 million by filming an exclusive quarantine episode. So it's been 5 years since Parks and Rec aired what viewers believe to be its last episode. But this past week, the show's original cast came together for a half-hour reunion episode to raise money for COVID-19 relief.
Yeah, I loved it. I actually watched it myself because I'm a
you
big
did?
Parks and Rec fan. Yeah, it's really cool the way that they did it.
Nice.
The writing's funny. It's just good to see characters that you really love and like again.
Yeah.
And it's insane because, yeah, they, raised a ton of money, which just goes to show the power of a TV show.
It's true. Using their influence in whatever way they can. So the episode is currently being streamed for free on YouTube, Hulu, and the NBC website. So they're offering it for free, and they're still raising money. I'm definitely going to watch it soon, probably with Tara, because I could use some good laughs, and I love me some Parks and Rec.
Yeah, it's killer.
I just watched the episode where it's the carnival, the Harvest Festival, I think it is.
Yep.
With Lil
Lil
Sebastian.
Sebastian.
Oh my gosh, I want one of those T-shirts.
Dude, have you watched the whole show then?
No.
You've got to watch the whole show because they definitely tie in all these jokes
Okay.
you got to build up to it because the Lil Sebastian, there's a whole thing in the new episode with he's like a little miniature horse that everyone is obsessed with.
Yeah.
Bye, little Sebastian.
For some reason, I've already.
You should know
known
that song because it's a cultural icon.
Yeah.
He's a cultural icon. Here's a picture for you.
What I love so much is that, the typical critic, Ron Swanson, is obsessed with Lil Sebastian too. Usually he's the one that's oh, I hate this. This is stupid. But he's like, oh, Little Sebastian.
Everybody,
all about it.
Everybody should love Lil Sebastian. It's a good comparison. So my dad is like well grizzled, sturdy, carpentry kind of guy,
Yeah.
kind of Ron Swanson. He's got the beard and everything.
Yeah.
And my girlfriend's dog is a Pomeranian Chihuahua mix, so it's literally this 4-pound thing. And his whole life he's been small dogs are dumb, they're dumb,
Yeah.
they're so yippy and annoying. And he low-key loves this
Yes.
dog every time. So
What's the
my
dog's
dad.
name?
The dog's name is Fizzgig. It's a name from the show The Labyrinth. Not Labyrinth, from Dark Crystal.
Okay.
Both are Jim Henson films. It's the little creepy puppets. But he loves it. But he always, and my mom does this too, he calls the dog not Fizzgig, but Fizzy Wig, which is just way cuter to
That's
hear
awesome. Ooh,
your dad saying that
Right.
and holding this 4-pound dog.
And he probably does the thing where he just completely switches tones when he's talking to the dog, higher
it's
pitched.
there. It's there. It's definitely there.
This good news is from CBS News.
Ooh.
6 inmates who saved a guard's life were rewarded with shorter sentences. So what happened was, it was a humid day in Georgia. A lot of Georgia coming up today. 6 inmates were out doing maintenance work on the grounds of a local cemetery when the deputy sheriff assigned to guard them suddenly collapsed from the heat. As the officer lost consciousness, the 6 inmates surely could have run. They could have taken the fallen officer's pistol to aid their escape. They could have even driven away in the work van, perhaps crossing state lines before anyone noticed. Instead, however, the 6 men jumped into action and saved the deputy sheriff's life. Sheriff Moats is recommending that the 6 inmates, who are all nonviolent offenders, receive reduced sentences for their good deed. Some may even be released with time served. In the meantime, the department threw the 6 men a pizza party in the park. I could go for a pizza party in the park right now. That's a great idea. So this was complete with homemade desserts from the family of the officer they saved. I bet the family was bringing out the best desserts they had. What's your favorite dessert?
I love that. Best dessert, I just go ice cream. Straight ice cream. I love that. I love the swirl ice cream. The Flavor Burst swirl.
Oh, yeah. That was all over your Instagram when I was looking for some pics the other day.
Yep. I love that story. I think that's really cool, and I think people can land in different perspectives. I think it's good just to celebrate people doing a good act, right. And I think, again, whatever landed those prisoners in the sentences they have, like, it was an act, it was a deed, it was a thing. So it's cool to hear there's some level of redemption in their story that they're able to choose an action that saved somebody's life and proved, again, like, just because they're in prison doesn't mean they're inherently bad people.
Right.
You know, I think we always have that perspective. So that's a cool story. I actually really like that.
Yeah.
Like, and again, I think you can land in different camps when it comes to that, but just hearing, I think that's just good.
Yeah, just a story of integrity, which I've liked to tell a couple different times here on Keystone Connect, is always just encourages us to do the right thing when no one's watching or when it'd be easy to do something else.
Yeah, I love that.
So this last one is from the New York Times, and it's actually the World Happiness Report. So you could read this as good news or not good news, but I just found some of the little snippets of what makes cultures and societies happy. I found that would be really beneficial for some of our listeners that are looking for some good
Statistical
vibes.
Happiness.
Yep.
I'm a fan.
You must be happy. The stats.
I am just a robot of joy.
Yep. And on that note, the Finns, who so pride themselves on their stoicism and the facts and the data, they have a word. Sorry, I didn't want to run this bit again. I feel like.
No, I think it's great. I think it's funny.
Oh my gosh. So they're known for their national grit, and they've been named as the happiest people in the world for the 3rd year in a row. The distinction has confused the Finns themselves, but it turns out that happiness, at least as it's defined in this report, is not a function of how well you express your emotions. Rather, it is a measure of general satisfaction with life and, more important, the confidence that one lives in a place where people take care of one another. Happy people wouldn't have the highest smile factor, John F. Helliwell said. They do trust each other and care about each other. And that's what fundamentally makes for a better life. The U.S. has fallen to 18th and reached its peak of being in 11th place in 2012. It is easy to chalk up with a strong sense of overall well-being in Nordic countries to their wealth and fairly homogeneous populations, Professor Sachs acknowledged. Rich countries are definitely happier than poor countries, he said. It's no joy to be poor. But unlike the United States, where a loss of faith in institutions has dovetailed with the drop in happiness reported by Americans, people in Scandinavian countries believe in one another and their governments, Professor Sachs says. It's part of what's deteriorated in the United States, he said. This idea that we're all in this together, that's really being tested. We're going to have to find that common sense of shared responsibility to pull through the crisis. In Finland, 91% of survey respondents reported being satisfied with their president, and 86% said they trust the police. Thus, in the current crisis, people are willing to follow instructions and trust that everyone will do their part. Frank Martella, a Finnish philosopher who contributed to the report, said in an email. Every time the president or the prime minister holds a public speech about the issue, the overwhelming response is one of trust and commitment. Mr. Martella added that Finns were volunteering in large numbers to go to the grocery store for others and had started campaigns to help artists and other people whose livelihoods are threatened by the crisis. People are stating and feeling that we're in this together, he said. Nordic countries round out 4 of the 5 happiest places to live, according to the study, which examines Gallup poll data of 1,000 people from each of 153 countries over a 3-year period. The report ranks each country based on the average result of the polls, Professor Sachs said. Respondents in each country are asked a basic question, he said. It's essentially, imagine that life is a ladder, with the bottom rung being the worst life you can imagine and the top rung being the best life you can imagine, Professor Sachs said. Where are you on the ladder? Finland is followed by Denmark, Switzerland, Iceland, and Norway. So I thought that was just good to hear of how important it is to know that we're in this together and we're called to rally together and to believe in one another. And what just kind of hurts my heart in this season is that I feel like we're getting even more polarized with politics and everything. And I think we're called in our faith to be encouragers, to believe the best in people, and to just show everyone that, hey, we're all in this together. We're not called in, especially times like this, to forge enemies in any way or believe the worst in people or conspire against people. Like, one, it's important to know, like, that we need to just rationally evaluate everything going on, as well as believe the best in one another, and just know that we're all in this together and this is hard for everyone.
Yeah, I think that's so critical. We were talking, I had a couple friends and I were talking on our digital, like Skype, Zoom, whatever you're using, call. And we were talking about just the idea of others being an enemy. And how as Christ followers, like, we're really called into seeing other people, and even if they have beliefs that are different, making sure that we value relationship over our being right.
Yeah.
Now, I think within relationship, there's a piece where believers within the same community, Christ followers that have the same understanding of Jesus, are called to encourage and challenge each other to live like Christ, which can land in some different camps when it comes to more divisive issues.
Yeah.
But I think during this time, like, all of us as a whole have an inherent desire to have an other, because a lot of us are really angry and frustrated and stressed out right now, and we don't know where to put that. And I think a lot of that is landing in politics, and it's landing in those people shouldn't be doing this because and we're just trying to get rid of that anger, but it's coming out in this divisive way. So when I hear of Finland having this united feel, man, that feels so Christ-like a Christ-centered community. And man, I just wish we had more grace for one another, and that we valued relationship.
Yeah.
And that if we don't have relationship with a person, yes, we can be critical, and yes, we can have a voice, but when it comes just to being mean or angry, man, I don't think that helps anyone.
No.
It doesn't push us towards anything. So
No.
That's a cool article. And I think, again, America probably hears that. It's we need to be number one in happiness.
Right, yeah.
Which is why we're never going to be.
That's
right?
funny. Oh, the irony.
So, I mean, and that it's just interesting to think about, evaluating joy on a scale and statistically. And I like how they said,
Right.
It isn't just how much you smile. It's your overall
it's not
feeling.
necessarily showing your emotions, but it's, being grateful and trusting and being together. And
Yeah,
I
it's almost
think,
like a sense of peace.
yeah, with what you were talking about with anger and people want to get that out, I think it's important. And you mentioned this when you gave a message about how Jesus got angry. But when we get angry, we have to think, are we getting angry about the right stuff? Are we getting angry and focusing our emotions on something that actually needs to be changed? And this is righteous anger that God wants for us, not just anger that is fueled by our own pride or our own opinion or something that we believe to be true. But is it rooted in love? Is it rooted in God's kingdom coming to here on earth?
Yeah.
And are we called to stick up for something?
Yeah, one of the lines for me from that teaching that stuck with me was anger is a symptom of passion, that there's something else going in and it's coming out as anger. Because I felt even during this time, anger for me coming out sideways, it'll come out at the dogs if they're being disruptive or just annoying or chewing on things. The anger will come out and I'll be why did I act that way?
Right.
It's because it's coming out sideways, because I am frustrated about these situations. But finding positive outlets, trying to be justice oriented and helping where I can.
Right.
But then sometimes for me it's the bike ride, it's the simple things we all
Right.
know. It's seeing your anger, knowing it, and putting it in a different place, because if you don't, it's going to come out. If you just keep stuffing it down, it's going to come out at the people and the things around you. And that's not ideal. Yeah, that is not ideal.
I think this was like episode 3. I talked about a road bike I got. I just got a mountain bike off Facebook Market. Hit the trails yesterday.
Yeah,
that is a great outlet.
I'm super excited. So I have a 70s Schwinn original paint. Everything. It's a really cool bike.
Schwinning.
And my friend that I bought it from, who works at a bike shop, he's actually giving myself and my girlfriend the like sister bike to this one, so it's like same era, same everything. I just bought some parts for it and we're picking it up like in a week.
Nice,
dude. Like biking.
So it's
right
tandem.
Now? I wish, dude. I actually want a tandem. I've ridden tandem bikes. We had some at camp. They're so cool. Yeah, I actually love tandem bikes. Yeah. Like I think they're rad. I wish I could get one of those. But we will be riding in tandem, just not a tandem bike.
Nice. I saw this old couple. I think they were on Nap, like a busy street.
Yeah.
You know, and they were going up this hill, and I swear it's one of those things where they're going so slow you think they're just gonna like keel over and fall off. They had like matching vests and everything. It was during the day. It was great. And I texted Tara. I was like, "Are we gonna get a tandem one day?" And she's like, "Nah, I don't think so. I think we're just gonna like rent them." You know.
It's cool. So even the biking thing, he works at the shop, and he said they had like 150 bikes on the wait list to be like repaired and fixed during this time. Like again, biking's a great thing right now to get out and to be out and to like you have that social distance. But yeah, it's crazy, man. Like I'm so thankful he's like, I'll like fix up your bike for you and whatnot. So
nice.
It's cool. So get out there, get biking, wear your helmet.
I didn't know that. So I've heard from a Grand Rapids friend who just goes out on the mountain bike trails all the time. Grand Rapids has like amazing trails here that I didn't know of, and it's like booming now.
Yeah.
There's so many of them, and supposedly it's just over years it's really blown up.
Yeah.
So
when I lived downtown, I used to be able to ride Millennium Park, and that's a nice, beautiful park. And I think there's still a little bit of gray right now that people are trying to understand, like to what degree can I go out and go biking?
Right.
Like I usually bike on a few streets, and then there's this back trail. It's kind of jank city, but it's all I got. But yeah, I think there's still a gray. Are we able to go out? Are we not? But I think to some degree, like if you're smart, if you're just being intelligent, if you're doing it for the exercise, like I don't see a problem with that. And if you do have a problem with that, I'm so sorry. Let me know.
Yeah. Write in our comments section because we like comments.
Yeah.
We'll
as long as you have some level of relationship with me. Because if you're just angry at me and I don't know you, let's grab coffee when this is all over and we'll be friends.
I don't know who, no, I'm not even going to put this bit in.
Oh, no.
I was going to say, I don't know who sent this email, but it's from like this anonymous email, and it's talking about like all the episodes. It's like, I really like this. Like, can you do more of this? And like, I couldn't really respond to it because it was an anonymous email. I was like, oh.
That's kind of cool, though.
Yeah.
That anonymous people are watching this, just like someone out there. Like, I have all these weird YouTube videos out there, and they have like a bunch of views. I'm like, who's watching these? Like, who, like, because the quality, like, they're like high school videos. So, like, it's bad. But, like, I'm like, who's watching this stuff? So, if you're watching, though, we don't know who you are. We're so glad that you tune in.
Yeah.
And if they're this deep into the episode, then they at least enjoy it to some degree.
It's
so
true.
that's
The
cool.
name of it was what threw me off. It was just so anonymous and random and weird that I was like, it was like at I don't check this email.com or something. I was like, what?
I don't check this email.com.
Yeah. I was like,
they're actually like probably a super popular critic that like exists out there, and they send this to all the big like things, and they're like, man, this has potential. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
I don't check this email at Gmail, whatever it is, Outlook.
Yep. Ryan, you have the recommendation roundup this week. What do we got?
I'm super excited for our good already. Recommendation roundup. It's a good time.
No one has been doing that.
Nobody gets it. They don't understand how important the roundup is.
And if you're just listening, we do like a tornado spin and go up. Mine starts earlier, Ryan starts later.
Yep. So I have brought a book and a playlist this week. My first book that I wanted to talk about is The Chronicles of Narnia. Have you read the Chronicles of Narnia before?
I've read a couple of them, and it makes me think. I'm pretty sure it's featured in an episode where he's like, "This is the Chronicles of Narnia."
Is it really? I've never.
When
I don't remember.
Dwight and Michael are like doing like their like rap or whatever. I'm pretty sure it's in it.
I need to check that out.
Right.
So
I'm
not gonna rap for you, but if you have read the Chronicles of Narnia and you haven't read them in a while, check out the series again. I haven't read them in probably a decade or so.
Yeah, really good.
and returning to them. I love it. They're written by C.S. Lewis, and he infuses a lot of Christian themes into the books. And I've been making my way reading them through published order. You can read them either through like the timeline in the books or the published order. And so this is the Silver Chair, which I'm on right now. And this book, check this out, is from 1953. Wow. So I think this may or may not be, and that's my
Pokemon cards.
Pokemon card
What
bookmark.
Pokemon is it?
It's Lucario.
Nice.
He's a steel fighting type. He's super cool.
Poking right out, so you can use a bookmark.
Yeah. But this is from 1953, so I don't know if this is an original, because those are super expensive, but like this is right around that time.
Yeah.
And you can smell it.
Does it smell like rich mahogany?
It smells like grandma's basement.
Mothballs.
Right. But I love this series, and I think one of the characters that comes to mind for me that I think is one of the best written is Aslan. Did you ever see the movies?
Yes, I love the movies. That honestly, with those movies, I still think back in like regards to like this depiction of who God is and how much he loves us. It's like the power and the omnipotence, but also the love. And there's a couple scenes that really were moving in there and just gave me such a cool picture of who God is.
Yeah, they're really cool books. And I think I love what you hit on, like the power and the omnipotence and the love, because that's like the character of Aslan. He's a big lion if you've never read him. He's a lion that can talk in this land of Narnia. And he's kind of the God Christ figure that C.S. Lewis uses to speak about God to kids in the books. And what's cool is he's described both as like powerful and terrifying and majestic and all these like really intense characteristics, but he's also intimate and loving, and he sees the characters and he challenges them. And the writing is just so cool. And if you've never read them, I mean, I'd recommend this to anyone who's like 6 years old to like a grandparent, because I think for me, reading them again really re-inspires me with what it's like to have childlike faith, what it's like to dream big and to imagine big. So entering into this world, especially during these current times where it can feel so suffocating and like you're stuck at home, like really just transports you to another place. So great book.
C.S. Lewis gifts are incredible. Like there's Mere Christianity, which is such an in-depth and great perspective in regards to the Christian faith. And then he can turn around and just come up with a whole children's series that is still around to this day, and people are consistently reading them and loving them still.
Yeah. They're incredible. You should check them out. And I also have a playlist this week. We're pushing you guys towards Spotify. If you have a Spotify account, follow Keystone Community Church. It's an account on Spotify. There's a bunch of playlists listed there. Eric's is there, which is New Quality Worship. Our Keystone Morning playlist that plays every Sunday is there. And now a new one, which is a specific playlist of all the songs our Anthem students either worship to or listen to. There's a couple of funny songs that we've listened to in the car rides on mission trips.
Love it.
It's a
So
fun
good.
playlist. It's a lot of like modern music. It's a lot of like deep worshipful stuff. It's like Keystone Community Church. The playlist is right there. You can check it out. It's just like really cool, like Christian, like music and inspiration. So if you're looking for that, you don't have to be a student. If you're looking for what the kids are listening
What the
to,
youths are putting inside their ears at too high of a volume.
So there's some good stuff on there. There's Hillsong Young and Free, Elevation Worship.
Yeah, they just came out with a new album. You should check that out. It's really good.
That album's super good. The song I've been listening to on it is Rattle.
Yes.
The guitar
so good.
part, the energy
Can
of
we
the
cue
song
that
is
in?
good.
And I just like sing a little bit?
Yeah.
This is the song of dry bones rattling.
You sound just like him. You sound just like him.
His name's Chris Brown, which always just confused me because I'm like,
That's an unfortunate name in music today. So yeah, I think that playlist, Anthem Students on Keystone.
I want to listen to that because it reminds me of like when you said like songs that you play in the car rides on mission trips, that like feeling of nostalgia and that feeling of like, did you ever like burn people's CDs and then listen to them? Like, there's no like way to do that anymore. I mean, you can, but like
make a playlist for people or do a mixtape.
Yeah.
But I don't even have a CD player anymore.
Yeah, exactly. So like this of like a mix of, you know, these good worship songs as well as like kind of songs that people at Anthem, they're like kind of, it's not like inside, but it's like, you know, stuff that they will specifically understand, and it brings them back to being in the van then. And
Yeah.
just what's the best one of like the car ride songs?
The car ride songs, there's a song called Hot Cheetos and Takis.
Oh yeah.
Which is like this like insane rap song that's about like snacks.
Yep.
And that's a big favorite. And then there's one that's called I Love God. And it literally like there's a part in where the singer's just like, I love God. You love God? I love God.
Oh man.
And it's like just that. And it's just songs that like have stuck around for our students. And I actually had one of our students recently reach out and be like, man, this reminds me of like growing up through middle school anthem. She's in high school anthem now. It's like, man, all these really good memories tied to
Love
this. So
it.
yeah, it's kind of like a mixtape to our students. I
Yeah.
love that. I'm going to put that into the details. So
Yep.
you guys, if you're not a student, again, should check it out and just see what students are listening to and what we're doing in Anthem.
Yeah, and we always update these playlists, so it's not like, oh, you only have one playlist with 40 songs. We update them every month. Are you going to update the Anthem Students one, or are you just going to
Yeah, I'll
leave
probably put some new songs on it.
here and there.
I don't know if I'll delete any, but there'll
Yeah.
probably be new stuff added to
Sweet.
it. Cool. Well, that, I think, concludes our recommendation roundup.
The recommendations have been rounded up, and so has our episode, sadly. So if you haven't subscribed yet, you should. There's a little button in the YouTubes as well as with Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So if you click subscribe, when you're connected to Wi-Fi, it'll just download it to your device so you can just listen to it whenever, wherever. It doesn't matter like how much cell phone reception you have or how good your internet. Because I have Sprint, and it's really bad to stream anything outside of my house when I have Wi-Fi. So it helps me out a lot. So subscribe, hopefully share if this helped you in any way. And we will see you next week, folks.